I want to take us to two cross references that'll make this very clear. And the first is James chapter 1 and verse 18, which reads, "In the exercise of His will, God's will, He, not we, He brought us forth by the word of truth, so that we would be a kind of first fruits among His creatures." We see very clearly here that it is the sovereign will of God and the sovereign working of God that produces the new birth. It is God and God alone. And then in John chapter 1 and verse 13, I want to also read verse 12 before it. And as you're turning to it, I want you to note where this is found in the Gospel of John. This is on the front doorsteps of the Gospel of John. This isn't hidden in the back of the book. This is right here for everyone to see who begins to read the Gospel of John. It has a place of great preeminence. And in verse 12, we read of John 1, "As many as received Him," referring to Christ. The word receive there means to welcome a guest into a home. As many as received Christ, to them He gave the right to become children of God, even to those who believe in His name. Now the question is, why do some believe in His name and others do not believe in His name? And the question is, how is it in reality that you receive Christ and become a child of God? And the answer is found in the very next verse, verse 13, in one of the most profound statements of sound doctrine that you'll find anywhere. In fact, it's the continuation of the same sentence. Who were born. Now stop right there. That means to be born spiritually. He's playing off the analogy of a physical birth, but the intent here in the context is a spiritual birth. He will then give 3 negatives and 1 positive, lest there could be any misunderstanding. So it begins with negative denial, then positive assertion. So no thinking can slip through the cracks here. So he begins by saying how someone is born of God, not of blood. Now what does that mean? Well, it's not according to your bloodline. It's not according to your lineage. It's not according to what physical family you were born in, or who your forefathers were, who your father was, or your grandfather. That had nothing to do with it. God has many children, but He has no grandchildren. So not born of blood, that's very obvious. You weren't born a Christian. You weren't born into it. And then, nor of the will of the flesh. You were not born by the will of your flesh. That refers to your attempts at self-righteousness to pull yourself up to God. It refers to your moral activity to try to commend yourself to God. You cannot work your way into the kingdom of God. That's what this is saying. But it's this third negative that really is a knockout punch. Don't let this escape your eye. Nor the will of man. Your will had absolutely nothing to do with your new birth. That may come as a shock to some of you. There was no free will that got you born again.